Hey everyone, so for today's video, we are going to be doing a makeup regrets video. So honestly, I think most of this makeup I have bought in 2021. A lot of these are quite new releases. So I wanted to update you guys. I'm going to walk you through all of these products and give you an idea of why they didn't work for me. And I will also show you how they looked on my skin. And a quick disclosure, of course, if you love any of these products, I'm just happy that you have found makeup that you love. Keep doing your thing and keep loving them. You know what? Let's start here because this product really did not get along well with me. It's the Maybelline Fit Me Tinted Moisturizer, and I bought the shade 115. I have to tell you that the shades seem a little bit bizarre. This shade is quite peachy. I was very excited about this launch because I think a lot of you guys already know how much I love the Maybelline Fit Me concealer. That is one of my favorite holy grail concealers that I've used for a really long time. So for Maybelline to come out with a tinted moisturizer, it really excited me. I wanted it to be a good accompaniment to the concealer, and it was not. So the texture of this product isn't bad. I don't think that the texture in and of itself is poor, but something happens when it's applied to the skin. This actually dries down pretty quickly, and it's not something that feels very predictable. Certainly, I think that there are some foundations where you're like, okay, I know this foundation dries quickly, and you can kind of work with it. With this one, for some reason, I just find that in some areas it dries down, in other areas it's still kind of movable, and what ends up happening is it's just really difficult to get a very even blend with this product. Every time I wear it, it just looks really patchy. On top of that, I'm not really sure if this product oxidizes or again it just dries down really quickly because the shade does change and it does get a bit darker. Again, when you get to know formula, if it does dry down fast, if it oxidizes, you can kind of work around those things, but there's a factor to this that makes it really unpredictable. It oxidizes or dries down a bit orange, and then again with that dry down period being so finicky, it's really difficult for me to be able to recommend this. Something that is actually in common with I think most of these products is that I found that they did not get along well with my skin. They either didn't melt into the skin and become one with the skin, or they weren't as flattering as they could be. So unfortunately, I can't recommend this. I actually bought it like right when it released, and I was really excited to do like a whole video dedicated to it, but I tried this out a couple of times and every time I was really disappointed. One that I was actually really close to recommending was this one from Milani. It's the Glow Hydrating Skin Tint. Something you will also notice is that there are quite a lot of foundations and skin tints in here because I'm just really picky. I'm super picky about the way that it blends. If things don't blend exactly the way that I want them. Funny enough with this product though, I do think that it blends really nicely. It says that it's 29% squalane, so as you can imagine, this is an incredibly dewy product. I would say it's probably a sheer to light coverage. And as an overall kind of base product, it definitely looks kind of like just a tinted face oil, and it looks pretty flattering, I would say. It can be streaky here and there, but as a whole, the way that it looks on the skin is nice, especially if you don't want a product that lasts really long. Let's say you just want to go to the beach, you just want a little bit of a veil of coverage all over your face to run errands, etc. If you have very dry, dehydrated skin, you just want that kind of pop of luminosity. You want everything to look a little bit more even. All things considered, I actually think that this product is really nice. Now, the reason why this was a regret for me is that it's actually two things. One, this has a very strange smell to it. I'm not really positive what smell it is. I haven't really smelled anything quite like it. It kind of smells like a fragrance, but I don't believe there is any fragrance in here. I would love to know your thoughts if you have this about the smell, but I find it to be quite potent. It's just a little chemical-y, and also I actually found that this was quite irritating around my eye area. I just found that it irritated my eyes and it kind of burned a little bit if it got into my eyes. So listen, this could very well just be like an expired product. When I bought it brand new, I had those issues. All I can say is that I can't recommend it just because of those weird smell and irritation issues. I actually kind of realized when I was putting together products for this video, definitely picky with cream bronzers and powder bronzers, because I just find that a lot of them just look really stark on my skin, or they don't look as beautifully seamless as they could. So let's talk about this one from NARS. It's the Sunkissed bronzing cream in the shade Laguna. I was incredibly excited about this launch as well. Again, you guys know I love a cream bronzer. Unfortunately, this launch has not worked for me. I tried this out months ago with you guys and I said, I don't know, I'm on the fence. As I've continued to wear it, I can definitely imagine this looking really pretty on some people because I kind of see the glimpses of the beauty of this product when I apply it. There are some times where I'm like, oh, that looks really pretty. I'm seeing where this formula really works. And for some reason, it just always goes wrong. Every time I wear this, I find that any hair on my face looks incredibly exaggerated. And I think it's also worth mentioning that I have some really exceptional, beautifully blending products that don't do that. The blend was a little bit choppy as well. Like in some areas it wants to stick, in other areas it does not want to stick. That was a very similar issue that I had with the soft matte blushes, I believe they're called, from NARS as well. That kind of fluffy silicone texture. It just reminded me a little bit of that, and unfortunately, I ended up not liking this for similar reasons. I do want to show you the bronzer that I'm wearing today. It's the Sunmelt from Saie. I want you to see how this one blends comparatively to the NARS so that you guys can get a better idea of what I'm talking about. The Sunmelt really just melts into the skin, and I don't find that the blend looks choppy. It doesn't want to adhere to the skin oddly so that some areas look really pigmented and others look less pigmented. It's just a beautiful smoothness to the product. It's buildable, it's blendable obviously. It looks natural and fresh, and it doesn't highlight any texture or facial hair. So hopefully you can see in the demos and that is helpful. Another product that I was not a fan of, and I know a lot of people love this one, it's the bareMinerals Blonzer, and I have the shade Kiss of Rose, and it's a blush bronzer. That's why they call it a blonzer. The whole concept of this product, A+. I love shades that I feel like give me a little bit more of a tanned, sunburnt kind of look. And even though this isn't a necessarily like new concept, I love that bareMinerals also included multiple shades, but I'm just not a fan of this one. I think the main reason I don't like it isn't really necessarily the color. I think the color is really pretty. I don't like that there's such a strong shift to this product. I'm not sure if it's different with other shades. This is the shade Kiss of Rose, and it's the shade that I was most interested in. Like, look at that. That is really like very much up my alley, a shade that I would immediately be drawn to. Fortunately, when I put this on, I just find that it doesn't want to blend as well as I would like it to. And I think partially because this has such a strong kind of golden shift to it. It's not necessarily a sparkle, it's just a shift. I find that it really highlights the fine lines that I have on my face. Something I think worth noting is that if you have more mature skin, if you have more fine lines around this area, I saw that they exaggerated mine, and I really don't have many fine lines at all. My skin just looks tired. It looks like there's just less volume in the area because of that. Again, the color is really pretty, but the way it makes the texture of my skin look, is not my favorite at all. I love blush. Like, blush is one of my favorite makeup steps to do, but I need the texture and the quality of my skin to look good across all of these makeup products. I think if you're maybe just putting this like a little bit on the apples of the cheeks, I can see this looking pretty. This is quite pigmented. I actually like that about this because it's going to work for more people. But for me, just the texture of my skin didn't look great when I was applying this. I don't know, I just have to be honest here, you guys. Like, I was so excited for a lot of these like cheek product launches, but I look for, you know, the best of the best in the products that I know are going to look beautifully seamless every time. They're going to make the quality of my skin look good, and these just haven't been doing it for me. Kind of a strange product. I don't know how many people are talking about this, but it's from Sephora. It's the Flushed Blush, and this is the shade Cloudy Pink. I was excited about this because I think that the Sephora brand in general has a lot of potential, and I liked that they were kind of dabbling in the cream blush realm, but I did not like this formula very much. It has this really silicone-y fluffy texture. Like, this to me feels like a smoothing primer with a tint to it. When you apply it, it not only moves the foundation and the product under it, the color kind of just disappears. It really shears out. So I feel like you end up kind of building the product up and the situation just doesn't get better. I just don't know where the color goes. It really kind of disappears. Very similarly, actually, to the Cheek Heat, actually, from Maybelline. The way that the color kind of disappears is very similar, but this kind of slippy, smoothing primer texture, like, I just don't think that that's a great idea when you're layering this on top of products. But maybe you don't wear foundation and you just want a product to put on, maybe like smooth out the cheeks, just wear a little bit of this. I think that you might actually like it, but just don't expect a lot of color payoff from it, I guess is what I'm saying. Another regret was the Makeup Forever Watertone. This was a product I was super excited about as well because I love the Makeup Forever Reboot. That is certainly a holy grail foundation for me. I just love how smooth and radiant it makes my skin look. I love that it's very lightweight and fluid. There's so much to love about that foundation. This is just my theory, but I think what is happening with Makeup Forever is that they're trying to find a formula that is like a different version of their original Makeup Forever Face and Body. They discontinued that product. That formula I think was really unique. It was so thin, but very buildable. It didn't look heavy on the skin. It lasted a long time. I really feel like there was a lot to love about that foundation. And if that foundation had been released now, in a time where I feel like a lot of people are gravitating towards more like face and body, natural skin tint kind of products, I feel like that would have done really well. What happened is I think sales probably fell off, obviously. They discontinued the product, and since then they've been trying to create a similar but also kind of different formula. And although the Reboot is different than the Makeup Forever Face and Body, I still think that that formula like hit it out of the park. It is absolutely beautiful, but it's just really bizarre to me. The Watertone, the Reboot, and the Water Blend, they all have very similar textures, and they all have a pretty similar texture to that original Face and Body foundation. I don't know, I'm sorry to ramble, but I just think it's kind of interesting. I see where they were going with this foundation. They wanted a skin tint that was going to be transfer resistant, but what actually ended up happening with this product, I just found that it dried down very mattely, and it did not want to melt down into the skin. I found that I was noticing it sitting on my skin quite prevalently. Another thing that was kind of bizarre about it is that I just found that it kind of pilled up on itself a bit, and that's something that I actually noticed with the original Face and Body, but it was something that you could just easily kind of like brush off and it was fine. I just noticed it a little bit more with this. I don't know, just something about the foundation likes to kind of congeal back together sometimes. Here's the thing about the Watertone though, I can see people with oily skin really liking it because it does set down and it is quite transfer proof, but for someone with dry skin, I think the Reboot is a better launch and the one that I would recommend. Again, these were the ones that just didn't work for me. These are kind of the regrets that I had. It's never my pleasure when a product doesn't work out for me because, you know, I wasted my money. I wouldn't say I completely regret the purchases because it did give me the opportunity to come on here and walk you guys through them and talk about why I didn't get along with them. Again, if you guys love these products, please continue to love them and use them. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in my next one.